Hello, this is Filmtalk on FilmLab, powered by Way Entertainment Production. Check www.filmlab.ng and watch at www.filmlab.ng/filmtalk. Unlike some who would feel accomplished after their first screenwriting job, he felt need to improve his skills. He was smart enough to further develop his screenwriting talents and skills at workshops and off-internet resources. Today, I want to know if he feels Nollywood storytelling and screenwriting has improved. Well, this man was born and bred in Benin, the Edo State capital, Nigeria, and describes growing up experience as sweet and sour. Perhaps he had a better experience during his Bachelor Degree Accounting studies at the University of Benin, Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. He realized his writing talents during the second campus year. Mr. Kelvin Ukhurebor, welcome to Film Talk.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here finally.
Thank you for honoring my invitation.
Yeah.
So my first question would be, can you differentiate between commercial and art house screenplay?
Okay. Commercial screenplays, like the name implies, they are meant for the public consumption. Well, all screenplays are meant to be produced for the public. Simply put, commercial screenplays are made for money. They go on exhibitions. After production, they exhibit these films. It's usually to make a profit, you know? Art house, on the other hand, are more experimental. They're more, some of them send a certain message, or like I said, they're experimental. The intent might be to push the craft forward or to exhibit or shed light on a certain, a certain event or a certain issue.
Again, they might be to further the technicalities of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like you said, experimental.
Yeah. Just to push the envelope, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah.
In your first school, I don't know whether it was commissioned or was your personal
No,
job.
it wasn't. It wasn't commissioned. It was my personal project. This was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to. I've always been fascinated with film and television. So I figured, and I thought I had stories to tell. I thought, they were not doing it right. They could be doing it better. So I decided to make that move. I went to a cyber cafe then. I downloaded the screenplay. Yeah, this was 2010, around thereabouts. I downloaded the screenplay for a movie. I can't really remember, but it was for a foreign film. I studied it. I watched the film I downloaded. I've seen the film I downloaded, so I watched it again just to see how it transitions from pages to the screen. And I decided to give it a shot. While the story was solid, or the story I had in mind was solid. The writing, it was my first time. It was really not that good, but it was an eye opener for me, because then I knew I had the boldness to want to know more, or I knew it was achievable. So yeah.
I did almost the same thing. When I left secondary school, I just read books on movies for 1 year because movie was my thing. The arts. Was it ever produced or published?
It was never really. No, it wasn't. It wasn't even written per se. I had the first draft.
Upstart screenwriter to go.
Yeah.
Print the script of a movie that you love, watch and read the script. Yes, you've written better script. But written from that 2010, your understanding of Nollywood script writing compared to now has improved. From a personal level to a general level.
The truth is, though, in some areas we've improved. In others, we haven't really. For lack of a better word, we retrogressed. We went backwards.
Really?
All right. No, not in all areas, though.
Okay.
In recent time, I've seen movies where, I knew the issue were technical issues in terms of execution as opposed to the screenplay. They just didn't do the script enough justice. I feel this is mainly occasioned by producers not taking their screenwriters along in the process. You get commissions to write a movie, you write the movie, you submit, and they think that's the end of it. It shouldn't be so. In other climes, the screenwriter is always on set because things might change. A screenplay, like they say, is never really complete until it's made. Overseas now, they have a separate arrangement with the screenwriter to be on set with them during the filming process. In Nigeria, we just toss the screenwriter immediately, he submits the first draft. You give it to a director who doesn't really understand the material,
I
But
know.
my point is, you have to take your writers along in the process. At the end of the day, you'll be glad you did. You
Because
know,
I mean, if you did that, that means you would have gone through maybe a second draft and a third draft, even a fourth
yes,
draft sometimes.
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
yeah.
Even watching a film, if you've ever been on a set before, just watching the scene unravel, you could have new ideas, and you run it by the director and like, okay, I think it will be better. The screenplay is not written on stone. Anything and everything could change. Yeah, I think in the long run we need to start taking screenwriters along in the process. Now back to your question, if there's been an improvement, the answer, like I said, is yes and no. In some areas we've improved. I've seen films where the writers were daring, and the movies were out of the box, so to speak, and touching areas that others wouldn't, dare touch.
Mhm.
Then I've seen stuff that were made and you keep asking yourself, what were they thinking? Because it was so terrible.
And like you said, there's supposed to be some synergy between the director, the producer, and even the
Yes.
cinematographer sometimes.
The
Even the cinematographer
cinematographer, yes. Every aspect, film is a collaborative
is a
process.
teamwork,
If you
yes.
leave if you leave one aspect lacking, it shows. In Hollywood, yeah. You submit a script, it goes through different phases of rewrites.
Mhm.
All right. Not by the original screenwriter, okay? They could give it to someone else or other writers, polish it page by page and everything. Then you give it to the director who has to come up with his own shooting draft. You understand? It's different. What the director should have a shooting draft different from the original screenplay.
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right, it's a process. But yeah, we find ourselves leaving the bulk of the work to the screenwriter, to the original screenwriter. He does the first draft, he does the second draft. If there's a third draft, he does the third draft. And then the director takes it and they shoot it like that. It shouldn't be so.
I think producers should also discuss their stories exhaustively with screenwriters because sometimes a writer will just come, okay, I have this story. Meanwhile, there is no story. It's just an
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a concept,
yeah, yeah.
And so the screenwriter goes back and beats himself to create a story.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people are so fixated on an idea. An idea is not a story.
Yes.
I you can't create 90 pages of imagine so and so of just a simple idea. Stories have to be populated with characters, and
Yes.
each character has to have a journey of his own.
Yes.
At the start of a movie, there should be some transformation with your not only your protagonist, also your
Yes.
antagonist. A lot of people are just fixated on ideas. So
So basically, what elements of screenwriting or screenplays portrays, let me say, a practical or a commercial or a usable script?
first of all, now you started with asking me what a commercial screenplay is and what an art house
Yes,
screenplay is.
yes.
The truth of the matter is there's always a compromise. There are some movies that were made, they've gone on to make a lot of money. And I bet the producers or the filmmakers who made those movies didn't think, it would be so commercially accepted. They probably did it on experimental basis. Now, there's always a balance between both. Telling you that if I say this idea will work, or if you do this and do that, a lot of people always think you can predict the Nigerian audience. You know exactly what the Nigerian audience wants. I do a comedy, throw in a few stars, and it's going to be a hit. No, you might have done it once and it worked. Doesn't mean it's going to work again. Sometimes the audience went to check out the first one strictly out of curiosity, or maybe you populated the film with enough star power to drag the audience from their comfort zone. But at the end of the day, when audiences go to cinemas or when they sit down to watch film, it's not the stars they're looking at. They're looking at story.
Yes.
They're looking at story.
The emotional
All
pull.
right. Yes, the emotional pull and everything. So at the end of the day, the formula of just populating put a few known faces in there is going to sell. It doesn't always work. That's pretty much rubbish.
That's why stars sometimes have to read the script and say, no, I can't do this or I will
I
do
can't do
this.
this, because they too have reputations to protect.
Yeah,
All right. There's no one way of doing it right.
that's
We
right.
need to experiment some more, okay? And not underestimate the audience in the sense that don't think because you know what audiences want. At the end of the day, the Nigerian audience or audiences generally are spoiled for content. We are living in the era of Amazon and Netflix and Hulu. There's a variety of stuff to choose from. Variety. The competition is not your fellow filmmaker in Nigeria. The competition is the other guys doing world class content with world-class budgets. You understand? It's all on the same platform now. There's a level playing field, sort of. The whole cinema experience. They want the best out of the content they consume. They are paying for it. They are buying this data. They deserve to get the best out of it.
And given the entry of such powerful networks or producers, we should begin to think of movies that should sell to the world. That's why I keep telling Nollywood producers, it is not enough to always think that your movie should be targeted only to the Nigerian audience. No, I usually tell people, China has, from what I heard, China has 60,000 cinema screens. What if you could screen your movie in just 10,000?
I recently saw a movie called The White Tiger. It's a Bollywood movie, but shot by some English American or English guys. A lot of people are speculating it could run for an Oscar. Now, that movie was shot in the slums of India. All right, it's about a guy who comes from nothing and tries to break into, cross that whole boundary of poverty into a good life. All right, and the sacrifices he had to make in the process. Poverty is a general thing. It affects everybody.
Everybody, yes.
All right. But whether you're Nigerian, Indian, or South African, wherever, it's an issue everybody can relate with. All right. Now, but these guys, they decide to tell one Indian guy's story, although it's fiction. They decide to tell one Indian guy. I, as a Nigerian, is something I can relate with. Okay, I can relate with the margin between the rich and the poor. Those are the kind of stories that cross boundaries, ethnic lines, and all whatnot. It's something everybody can relate with. It's something that ties everybody together. Those are areas we need to start exploring. The human experience. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's universal. It's not just a Nigerian or an American thing. Coming of age stories. Everybody has to grow. Everybody's on a journey. Everybody's on a path to discover something. Those are the movies, those are the kind of stories we should be exploring. So when a Chinaman picks it, or an American, or anybody, it's something he can relate with. Even though you're not telling his story, but it's relatable. I think definitely it's the direction we should be definitely looking to explore.
In another discussion, you say you don't follow straight jacket, act structure, or story structure. But traditional Aristotle has 3 acts.
Yes.
But there's also this, in recent times, screenwriting, say sitcom and all that are what I call 4 acts. 4 acts means in the first act you have what is the character's dream, what is his nightmare in the second act, what would the character die for in the third act, and what's the resolution of the character's dream. Then you also have a sequence, but that aside, now you wrote play Cough, the short movie that you wrote, that you screenplayed. So I'll play Cough.
Come in.
Good afternoon, Pastor.
Please tell me you're not looking to get married.
No, I'm not.
Thank God. Please sit. Some social media lady tweeted that after an encounter with me several weeks ago, she found her better half. Since then, I've been receiving calls from several ladies in town. The funny thing is I don't even know this social media lady.
Some people will consider it a blessing in disguise.
No, not me. That's not what my ministry is all about.
Oh.
So what can I do for you, sister?
Pastor, I have a problem.
Obviously, that's why you're here. If you don't have a problem, we won't be here. So let's hear it.
I get a lot of attention from guys.
You see?
No, I'm not here to look for a husband.
Say, whatever is bugging you has to do with finding the right one. Am I right?
You know what? This was a mistake. I should go.
Wait. Let's talk about it. We can as well talk about it, So you get a lot of attention from guys. How is that a bad thing?
They're the wrong ones.
What do you mean?
Pastor, I'm talking married men, mommy's boys, cheats, gold diggers, married men.
You said that before.
I mean, I'm not desperate for a husband, but let's face it, I'm not getting any younger.
I get you.
So,
what?
aren't you going to help me?
Honestly, I don't know how to help you. But keep your fingers crossed. Maybe the right one will come.
Keep my fingers crossed. What kind of pastor are you?
Kind of faster that his phone won't stop ringing.
You know what? This was a mistake. I should go.
I'll keep in my prayers.
Yeah.
Mr. Ray could be outside there, you'd never know. There's nothing God cannot do, you know?
Please leave my husband alone for me, okay? Ashewo, leave my husband alone! Ashewo, leave him alone! Leave him alone!
I was tempted to leave her in that cell, just to teach her a lesson. If not for her case.
I'm somebody's child, and your wife almost killed me. She attacked me because of you, and I've never met this man before.
Please allow me to apologize on her behalf. This is not the woman I married. I'm truly sorry.
Gentlemen,
Officer.
please put your house in order. The police might not be this lenient next time.
There will be no next time.
You may go now.
Let's go.
Really? A slap on the wrist for attacking me. Where is the justice in this? Eh?
Madam, I understand, but this is a police station and not a law court. We do our best to maintain the tranquility where possible. If you don't mind, I can give you a safe ride home.
No. Thank you. I can manage.
Hi,
Who's this?
my name is James.
Who?
Officer James. We met earlier at the station.
Oh. How did you get my number?
I took it off the statement you wrote.
Huh. I thought the case was closed.
Yes, it is closed actually.
So why are you calling me at this ungodly hour?
I was just calling to check up on you.
I didn't know the Nigerian police force was that caring.
You'd be amazed.
Anyways, thank you so much for calling, officer. I'm fine. Except for the fact that you let my abuser go with a slap on the wrist.
Well, I'm just glad you're fine. So, I was wondering.
Oh my God, look at the time. I have an early morning meeting. Good night, officer.
Good morning.
Me if you die for your matter.
Closey babe.
See I figure it, the body shape, mama. See the things you do not make me concentrate. And I tell her say, look at me for base. See I hope you know the delay. I came over, she begin to bring her waist closer.
Hi.
I know be one touch.
Yeah, I know. I kind of look different without the uniform.
Not really. What are you doing here? How did you get my address?
Well, you wrote them under...
The statement, yes. That explains the how. What about the why?
I was just by the neighborhood, and I figured I could stop by.
Are you stalking me?
Oh, okay, calm down. Nobody's stalking anybody.
Listen, I'm not very familiar with the rules that guide your profession, but I'm very sure that lifting up someone's personal information from a statement is not one of them.
You're right, it's not. And I haven't done this before.
So why am I an exception?
Ever since our last encounter, I can't seem to take you out of my mind.
You know, that's exactly what a stalker would say.
I am not a stalker. It's just that I think I have feelings for you.
What? Lagos! Yeah!
Why you laughing?
Okay. Nice comic relief. All right, listen up. Let this be the last time you show up at my door. You hear me? Don't ever call me. Don't ever show up at my door, like ever. If I ever see you here again, I'm going straight to your station to report you for harassment. Jesus!
But I was only trying to be your friend.
Maureen, that was harsh.
I know. And I feel terrible.
And then call him up and apologize. Thank you.
It's not like I don't want to. I just don't want to encourage him.
That's the last thing we want.
Yep. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
You said this guy is a good-looking guy.
Yeah. I also said he's a Nigerian police officer.
And so?
Would you date him?
I will consider it.
Ejiro, you're trying to tell me that if a Nigerian police officer approaches you and says he likes you, you give him a chance?
If I see what I like. But you said this guy is good looking, right? Maybe he's one of those good ones. They are human beings too.
God will judge you. God will judge you. God will judge you. Oh, Mama.
You know you're making me nervous.
Just so we're clear, this doesn't mean anything.
It does to me.
The only reason I invited you out is to make up for the last time, I treated you horribly. And that's the civil thing to do. So this doesn't mean consent.
Sure. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What if I wasn't a police officer?
But you are.
Hypothetically speaking, would you have given me a chance?
I don't know. Maybe.
But why does it bother you so much?
How could it not?
It's just a job.
A job that stands out. And not in a good way.
Maureen, I have never taken a bribe. Not in my entire career, not for once. I have never been reported for misconduct. And I know this may not even matter, but I've not even fired a weapon in the past 8 months. Yes, I get it. I am a member of an institution that probably has the worst reputation in the society, with lots of rotten eggs here and there. I mean, I know a couple of them. But the truth is, they're also good ones. Good police officers, good men and women who lay down their lives in order to rid the society of crime. Even in the face of daunting challenges. I am not ashamed of being a police officer. And honestly, I don't even think I can ever be anything else.
I didn't think I'll be seeing you again. Let me guess. You found the one.
I met someone.
Wow, I must really have this formula.
He's a policeman.
And that's a problem because...
I mean, he's a great guy. He has a good head on his shoulder.
An officer and a gentleman.
I can't get over the fact that... Okay, Pastor, imagine this scenario, okay? I'm at a party with my friends. Lisa's boyfriend is a doctor. Ife's husband works, is into oil and gas. Jane's boyfriend works at a multinational company. And then I have to walk into that place. I introduce my boyfriend. Hey guys, here's my boyfriend, James. He's a Nigerian policeman. Oh, Pastor. I can't.
Look at the bright side.
Which is?
He's got a uniform, he's got cuffs, he's got a gun.
Okay, so?
Don't you get it? You won't spend a dime in role-playing costumes, and your sex life will be fire.
Jesus, Pastor.
I'm just kidding. Say, I had the same problem when I wanted to settle down.
Oh, you did?
When Gloria told her folks that the guy who's interested in her worked in the church, all hell broke loose.
Oh wow, what did you do?
I did nothing. She later got married to a spare parts dealer, a really rich one. They have beautiful kids. We talk time to time though.
What lesson am I supposed to draw from this story?
I don't know, just do you.
I cannot believe I talked myself into believing you can actually help. Again.
You complained about attracting the worst of them, and now you found a great one. But you can't be with him because of his job. Look, sister, I can't help you, and I don't think anyone can.
Admit it, you're falling for this guy.
Hell no. Is that more of a pastor that puts ideas in my head?
You can deny all you want, but I know you have something special for this guy. You feel something special for this.
I beg, please. You know what? Let's just change this topic, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
So, what are we looking forward to tonight?
I don't understand.
It's your turn to host tomorrow.
No, it's not.
It is.
Jesus. How did I forget? So, oh my God. I totally forgot. I have to... Can you help me call? So you cannot just help me and call?
No.
Why are you such a witch?
I'm not available, thank you.
Witch. I need to call MD. What? I didn't realize. Oh my God.
I told you.
doing here?
I called you several times. You were not picking, so I just thought I...
If I don't pick my calls, what does it mean? I don't want to talk to you. You think you can just come here and embarrass me?
But I was worried.
If there's anybody who should be worried, it should be me. I have a stalker on my case.
Now you're overreacting.
Listen, you and I will never ever happen. Never. Now leave my house and leave me the hell alone.
Sorry.
As you wish.
But seriously, I haven't had such a deliciously sumptuous meal in a very, very long time.
Oh, stop it.
I'm serious, yeah. I must say you're a fantastic cook.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, come on. You're most welcome. But I must say you did well with this place, man. It's such a beautiful abode, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely place.
You already mentioned that.
Oh, did I? I almost forgot, you know. So, it's been a lovely evening.
Oh, yeah. It has been.
Yeah. And how about we end it the right way?
Okay.
Oh, really?
Huh?
Okay. So,
Okay. Easy there, Tiger. Slow down, okay?
You see, I know you want me. Like, I know you need me. You know, just cut the chase and stop pretending. Well, we are adults, you know.
It's not happening, okay?
Come on.
Would stop it, please. Just stop.
Just do this thing.
Stop it! What is wrong with you?
You slapped me?
Yes, and that's because you're way out of line. Now leave my house.
You slapped me?
Leave.
Since they born me, no girl has had the nerve to try this rubbish you just did.
What is the first time? Get out!
Man, no, yala, jai, passive by walking. But I open the door now. See, you. You sabi slap, man. I deserve to slap me. You slap me. Come outside now. Come on. Oh yeah, I beg. Come outside, come slap me another one again. I beg.
Step away from the door.
Who be this one? Who the hell are you?
Well, that doesn't matter. But what matters is what you do next. Now, leave.
Ogben, you know the... See, this baby there, she slapped me.
Well, maybe because you deserve the slap.
Oh, but see, come on, those wear black jackets, come be found. I see this thing, guy. I know they fear you and your big eye. And this girl with the here.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Okay. This one.
You just assaulted an officer. Now I have to take you in for good.
I believe take. Now take him.
I beg, don't face so. Now I will teach you how to respect women.
I beg it now.
This is James. You can come out now. You can come out. Are you okay?
Thank you for coming.
I was just doing my job. See you another time.
Good afternoon, officer.
Good afternoon, madam. How may we be of help to you?
Oh, I would like to make a complaint.
Sure. A complaint of what nature?
There is this certain police officer who was stolen from me.
What might this police officer have stolen from you?
My heart. Although, I must confess, I have not treated him nicely.
How so?
This certain police officer is the sweetest guy I've ever met. But I treated him like trash. I was naive and stupid. And I would like him to know that. I'm sorry.
Madam, I am not exactly sure the Nigerian police force can be of help to you regarding this particular issue.
Oh yeah. I would like to start by just inviting him over for dinner at my place today.
I shall do my best to relay your information to him, and hopefully he might consider it.
Oh, please do. And let him know that he should come with his cuffs, because they'll be very much needed. Thank you.
I watched the first 3 minutes of Cult. Maybe, 3, 6, 8 minutes. 3 acts, 6 to 8 minutes, then 8 sequence. How is the theme which represents the main character's conflict stated in the first 3 to 6 minutes?
Cuffed, first of all, I have to give props to the original owner of the story. I was commissioned for that job. It's not my story. And Chidazo Ekeze, she's a Nollywood actress and producer. If you watch the film, the very first scene encapsulates the main character's conflict. Mm-hmm. All right. She had gone to her pastor to complain about not attracting the right type of men in her life. So although the pastor was really of no help to her, but it stated, we know her conflict, we know what she's after. She steps out of the pastor's office and she gets attacked by a woman who's claiming that she had slept or she's sleeping with her husband. It's all one big mix-up. She's not. They land in the police station where she gets to meet, the police officer. Those 3 scenes alone, it kind of tell you, number one, we've already pointed her conflict, her or whatever she's after, her what she wants.
Her objective.
All right? Yeah, her objective is already pointed in the very first scene. Number 2, she gets physically attacked by someone who mistakes her for a girl who's sleeping with her husband. We stated that even though as trivial as some people might state it or might look at a conflict, there are actually consequences to it. It could cause like physical abuse and all whatnot. Then she goes to a police station, or the matter is taken to a police station, where it's revealed that she didn't it's all a case of mistaken identity.
I so love the, how do I put it, the indirect way you configure the story, in the sense that by the time we had the woman attacking her, which was the inciting incident anyway,
Yeah.
am I right?
Yeah.
The audience wouldn't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Like, it's a normal thing that could happen. You understand? But it just came from the blues. So we didn't expect that. And that became a pivot to, drive the story forward, which is very interesting. How did you suddenly feel that should be the inciting incident? I know you say it's normal, but to take it out of blues, well, I also think that maybe because it's a short film, so you did not want to extend it too much, so you needed to, hammer it on the head immediately.
Right. My whole approach to screenwriting is this: I don't know how to waste time to let things drag.
Yes.
Because if I let things drag, even I, as a as a movie watcher, I get bored. I have a very mathematical approach when I'm writing either a feature or a short film, even for television. Now, this is my approach, and it might not work for other people, but it works for me all the time. If I'm to shoot or if I'm to write a 20-25 minutes short film, I know that I'm going to have a minimum of at least 10 scenes, at least. Each scene expanding 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Now, I said minimum. It could be more.
Yeah.
It could be more, but it's not going to be less than 10 scenes. Now, I have 10 scenes to tell someone's journey from start to finish, bearing in mind that at the end of the film, there should be some sort of transformation.
Yes.
Ideological transformation. It could be physical, depends on what the story demands.
Yes.
There must be some kind of transformation of our protagonist, of our main character. Sometimes even of our antagonist. I've read countless screenplays, and everybody focuses on the journey of the main character of the protagonist, and everybody sort of ignores the antagonist because they are fixated on, just telling you why he is how he is. Or the stuff that drives him or her. Sorry, I'm going to backtrack a little bit to your first question. Why I don't stick to conventional structures. Most of those structures were developed for the action film genre.
Really?
All right. If you read screenwriting books, most of the things they point at are action films or films that has a lot of action in it. All right. You see them point to stuff like Rambo. You see them talk about some James Bond flick. You see them talk about Rocky and some other ones. All right. Now, I'm not saying that these structures are not adaptable to drama, but I realize that most of these structures, the guys that made them end up breaking them in their own films. Or the films that do not stick to conventional structures are applauded as, out of the box thinking, or they are applauded generally.
As the best.
Yeah, as a first. There's, like you would read in most screenwriting books, they'll tell you know the rules before you break them.
Yeah,
all right?
That's right.
Life itself has three acts. There's a beginning when you are born, there's a middle when you live, and there's an end when you die. That's life. Your journey, every journey has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. So with that in mind, when writing now, you know that your character has to have a transformation from the start of your film to the very end. How that transformation happens is entirely up to you.
Organically.
Yeah, it's entirely up to you because, you are God in this scenario. You're writing out a person's journey. I don't usually stick to the conventional structure because I like to have the liberty to do with my character whatever I wish. I don't like being confined to a certain 3-act or an 8-act. Or if the sequence of events don't happen the way it should be according to the act structure, no, I don't do that. My character is going to transform from the beginning of the script to the very end. Whatever happens between that transformation period, it's entirely up to me. So sorry, I'm taking too long to get to my point.
No problem.
So back to the issue of Coft. like I said, I had a minimum of 10 scenes to to tell the entire story of 20-something minutes. I knew that each scene had to be impactful. Each scene had to drive the story forward.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it in there just to make this, just to
play around with words.
Just to elongate it longer than I had to. I don't stick to time. Like every movie should be 90 minutes at least. Some cable companies, they are doing that now. If it's not up to 90 minutes, they reject the content. I don't know if you're familiar with Danny Glover. Is it Danny now? Well, Childish Gambino, that's his name, his stage name. He did a movie with Rihanna, and it was approximately 54 minutes, including opening and closing credits. It was a movie I watched. It was a movie I loved. But he told the story, and he did it a lot of justice. It shouldn't be about length. It should be about
content,
what's in it. I wouldn't drag a story because you asked me to do a 90-minute story. I'll start filling it up with rubbish just to make sure I hit my 90-minute mark. No, even when I'm going to be a few minutes shy of 90, I focus on the content of what I'm putting out.
And the content should organically be the growth of the conflict between of the protagonist and antagonist with the help of other characters.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I'm still talking to Kelvin Ukhurebor, one of the smartest and skilled screenwriters in and outside of Nollywood. Let me ask you, what is the character identification of the pastor? Because I confused him with the main character's friend. What roles do they really play?
Now, when I did this, it wasn't deliberate. But Cuffed was uploaded on YouTube. You get first-hand reaction from the audience consuming the content. A lot of people identified or they loved the pastor's character. Even though it's my personal opinion, the guy who played the role didn't really do it a lot of justice, but that's conversation for another day. A lot of people love the pastor's character. Truth be told, he didn't really offer any solutions. The main character went to him seeking answers, and he had none to give her. That coupled with the fact that he was extremely sarcastic and a bit funny, that he didn't have the answers the main character was looking for, and that was what was beautiful about it. Because whenever we're in crisis, we run to our religious leaders, we look to God, for a solution. He could have easily said, you know what, sister, kneel down, I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. The main character went to him twice, and twice he had nothing to give her. Still, the main character went through a journey.
I would call him a mentor, while at the same time also call him a trickster. So he carries two character functions. He mentors her and then tricks her. It is like a son asking a father, how should I talk to a woman? And he's like, just go and talk to her.
Just go and talk to her. Exactly. Like to some, that's useless advice. Just go and talk to her. He won't come to ask.
Yes.
But to others, that's actually good advice. The thing that endeared the pastor to a lot of people was he wasn't your conventional kind of pastor. He didn't ask you to go and pray or fast or do anything, a normal pastor would ask of you. But eventually he was able to help in a way. It depends it's a matter of perspective,
One experience I have in Nollywood especially is that people fear research. How would workshops and internet resources help groom new screenwriters?
It's not just in screenwriting, in most fields actually. There's a lot of resources, a lot of materials at our disposal. We just don't make the best of it. A lot of people are just lazy. They want to dive in. They don't want to do the work. I never really went to film school, all right? It was after I started writing screenplays on a professional level. I was actually earning from writing screenplays that I decided to start attending workshops and seminars and taking courses online. I did it for two reasons. I wanted to hone my craft, make it better. I knew I could be better. As a matter of fact, till tomorrow, I still think there's room for improvement. Nobody knows it all. There's no one way of writing a screenplay. All right, there's always room for improvement. So I did that because I wanted to get better, and I did that because I wanted the networking. I wanted to get close to the people that were actually making the films. Put my face out there and put my name out there, and hopefully I'll be lucky enough to find someone who will take a chance on me. Screenwriting in Nigeria is saturated as it is. It's funny. There are a lot of people leaving screenwriting for other fields, and there are a lot of people still doing it. And again, I feel I feel the sky is big enough for everybody, in the sense that if you turn on your television, all right, and you check your local Nollywood channel, or cable or whatever, if you look at the quality of work or quality of content on it, you would know that there's definitely room for improvement. As long as Nigerians or Nigerian filmmakers are putting out mediocre content, there's room for people to come in and change the game.
Yeah.
All right, that's my attitude towards it. Definitely, there's a lot of resources at our disposal. There are books online, some you can get for free. There are screenplays, a lot of screenplays. Every year they do the Oscars, the Academy Awards. Before the ceremony, they release the screenplays for the best adapted picture or whatever, the screenwriting categories. All for those movies, for best picture and the rest of them. All those screenplays are out there. They've been doing it for years. All right. It's actually a tradition of mine. Whenever the Oscars is approaching, I download the screenplays for Best Picture to read it. I watch the films. That's when it even became obvious to me that most of those movies don't actually stick to the script 100%. If you watch them. All right. So there's a lot of resources online. If you are really serious about being a screenwriter, there's a lot of resources online to benefit from. Then workshops and seminars, it's good to go out there, even if they are not telling you anything new, even if they're not telling you stuff you don't already know. It's good for networking purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've sort of mentioned this before. How should the screenwriter and the producer work towards a problem-solving collaboration or synergy? A lot of times you hear producers and screenwriters having misunderstandings. How should they two work towards, having good synergy and arriving at a good product?
Funny enough, that's not the only problem producers and screenwriters have. There's always the issue of money. People don't pay for the scripts, the commission, and everything. All right, but I'll address that. I think it's always good the screenwriter takes the producer along every step of the way.
Yeah.
There's a new method I'm adopting now. I don't wait on the script until the script is totally finished before sending in to the producer to go through. All right? If he goes through it and he's okay with it, like even when I send it, I continue writing until it tells me to backtrack and change one or two things. So he doesn't feel like, so the final product doesn't look
strange to him.
Yeah, strange to him. It's something he's already familiar with. All right, that's one. Secondly, all the other issues of money and intellectual property theft and rights, all of those things can be solved with a simple contract.
Okay.
All right, a simple contract. You don't even need a lawyer to draft anything. Just have something on paper and both parties sign, and that's good. All right. Okay. Stating the amount you are going to pay in clear terms. You just put your signature on it, and it's good. You have a legal document. You can turn it in a law court if need be. It's an agreement between two parties. We should cultivate the habit of signing contracts. Realistically, it might not work in all cases because most of the jobs we do, they are based on referrals. All right. And if I write a screenplay for you once, I develop a relationship with you, chances are nobody's going to be talking about contracts or not because we already have that rapport. But there are certain projects like big budgets in the map where everything has to be stated very clearly. And the issue of intellectual property theft is not something we should take very lightly. Or
what I call the second act of the structure, or maybe the sixth sequence or the fifth sequence, that is in Act 2, where you actually have the inciting incidents, which leads to the first antagonist, hyena fear. Would you describe the police as a representation of hyena fear, an antagonist? And again, would you say this is just he was just one of the many obstacles, or what really is her internal conflict, which she confronts the external conflict with?
As far as conflict is concerned, yeah, our main character is after a man or our ideal guy who she feels she went to the pastor and she's complaining she's attracting the wrong type of men. So she has an impression of the kind of man she wants to be with. Now in comes the policeman who, to a large extent, he's a good-looking chap, sounds intelligent. Ordinarily, she wouldn't have a problem with it, except the fact that he's a policeman. Her conflict per se stems from what people would think.
Okay.
It's the external perception of dating an actual police in Nigerian policeman. Everybody knows the reputation the Nigerian police has, but this guy was an exception, but she's not open to the idea of,
Yes,
there are
not
actually
yet.
exceptions, in the Nigerian police force. There are actually good men and women who, just do the job because, they love what they do. I think for her to accept him, she must let go of some of those ideals, So that's the entire conflict for her.
I sometimes I suspect in that movie that the protagonist is the pastor, but I'm not too sure. So I'm not too sure because he prompted her, he showed her the way. She's just the main character. So in the long run, we see her, meeting up with the policeman. Would you say that at that point, that is when she refuses the call? That is what is called the refusal of the call. She was prompted by the inciting incident and attack by the woman to go on a journey, to go report to the police.
Yeah.
And in reporting to the police, she met up with the police officer. And the police officer now gives her an offer and she refuses. That is the refusal of the call. That's the refusal of the call.
Actually, this happens a couple of times in the film. There were instances where he showed up at the house, and made his intention known, wholeheartedly. He put all his cards on the table, or she rejected him outrightly. I think her fears were mainly external, people's perception. She didn't really have a hatred for the guy per se. She was more concerned about, her own reputation and, the perception, the way people will look at her, dating a policeman and everything.
Oh, can't you also call that an internal conflict in the sense that the internal conflict is that, look, I want the best out of the man that I need to spend the rest of my life with. But then the external conflict is a perception.
Most times, or more often than not, the things we struggle with internally are brought on by past experiences and, from outside. It's a matter of perception, really. Okay. It's a matter of perception as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
I'm still talking to Kelvin Ukhurebor, one of the smartest screenwriters in and outside of Nollywood. He's speaking scripts. I can see that. Yeah. You attended a lot of workshops. Home Bida, London Film Academies, Bred, African International, Screenwriting.
Sorry to cut you. Now, Baking Bread it wasn't by the London Film Academy. It was by Tata 4 HQ. Tata 4 HQ is a media company here in Lagos. All right. Now, the London Film Academy was an online course I did. I didn't really attend the academy. Yeah.
Sorry about that. You also attended the Creative Nigeria Summit Film and Television Content Masterclass. You also did a Google Nigeria Content Development Masterclass. And I have read through the profiles of these entities. They seem to, especially Home Vida, they seem to dwell on cause-motivated stories. That stories that has to do with serious issues like gender equality, politics and all that. And many times I've read your comments on Facebook, and I seem to see that you dwell a lot. Your story dwells a lot on issues that actually affect, us. Not even frivolous issues like romance. Even when you're writing romance, you actually hammer on issues. So, can you evaluate the impact these workshops and seminars had on you in terms of what we just talked about?
Now, the reason most of them, it might look like most of them go towards the direction of advocacy, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, is because number one, they have sponsors, and perhaps that's the direction their sponsors want them to. So it's those things aren't really funded from personal pockets. There are organizations that pump money into these things, you know. And yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing per se.
No, let me end this question because I didn't quite finish the question before I started answering.
Yeah.
I wanted to establish the fact that what they did to you in terms of your understanding of storytelling, probably moved you away from the usual Hollywood. We must always reflect life the way it is. We cannot fictionalize anything. We cannot add any or subtract anything. We just have to present the story the way it is because it's reflecting on what happens in society. Comment, please.
First of all, as long as it's film,
Yeah.
as long as it's film, you can't just present it the way it happened. There must be some element of fiction in it. In my own opinion, the essence of any film generally, all right, is to entertain. That's it. But entertaining doesn't mean you can't pass a message across. Way in which you pass your message across, you have to be able to hook me. You have to keep me on my chair. You have to keep me in front of that TV, or you have to interest me enough to want to see to the very end. As far as film is concerned, for me, you can't just present it the way it is. Between me and you, real life can be unpredictable, can be boring, and events can turn that might not necessarily go along public opinion or what could generally appeal to the general public. If you are putting that in film, you have to bring in a new fiction just for entertainment purposes. Doesn't mean you can't tell the story. Generally, in issues of advocacy, I feel if you're going to tell those stories, it has to have a certain element of suspense. It has to be thrilling. Don't just say it just to gain a sympathy. It should be worth the watch. And that's where most of them actually get it wrong. They are so fixated on sending a message across that, they forget about the other aspects of film, and which, like I stated, it has to be entertaining. A lot of stuff out there are not really entertaining. That's why people don't really watch it.
Now, the next question is very critical of a biopic film in recent times. It is the story of Herbert Macaulay. It explores 3 decades in the life of a firm nationalist and founding father. This was a true life story. Like we are saying, you cannot tell. Sometimes when you tell a true life story, you have to fictionalize it a little bit. Critic really said it was half-baked screenplay. So what screenwriting advice would you give a biopic screenwriter?
It's funny you brought up the Herbert Macaulay affair. Before the guy who wrote and directed it, before he started on the project, he called me and we had a meeting in his office, give or take 2 years ago. He told me about the project, all right, and it was something he seemed excited about. He even showed me an earlier draft of the synopsis. At the time, there was no script. I could tell he wanted to tell the story, but I didn't see a story.
Really?
All right? No, don't get me wrong. My approach is this. When you tell me about the project, there's something in your story that should excite me.
Right.
I wasn't excited for it, not as much as he was. That wasn't why I didn't write it. He probably has his reasons why he never called me back to write. I don't know. All right? But at the end of our conversation, then he said there are certain books he had ordered for that he needed to, do some more research, on the topic and everything. Now, fast forward to, I think, a year later or so, I'm in Abuja. He dropped the trailer of the film. He had shot it. Before then, he had posted a couple of behind-the-scenes photographs, which I was impressed with. And when he posted the trailer, now this is the power of a good trailer, the power of a well-edited trailer. Everybody in the room with me, we were excited about it. Reason being, it was a break from the norm. Imor is a very daring screenwriter. He's a very daring filmmaker. He travels waters that other people would shy away from. Now, to me, that is good. We need more people like him in the industry. If we had more people like him, the industry would be more vibrant. To be honest with you, I knew, even with the beautiful picture and everything that I saw, I knew audiences wouldn't connect with it. First of all, what do Nigerians really know about Herbert Macaulay? Is the guy on the coin with the funny mustache. I knew audiences didn't know enough about the subject, or they probably didn't care enough about the subject character for it to fly. Secondly, like I stated before, look, when you're, it's like reading a novel, for instance. All right, you're reading a novel and you're picturing characters. The picture I have in my head is different from the one you have in yours.
Yeah.
All right. If I had written that story, I would have done it differently. Imo did the best he could with the resources at his disposal.
Okay.
Bear in mind, biopics are not cheap.
I know.
Biopics are not cheap in everywhere. You're looking at costuming, you're looking at props, you're looking at locations. Everything has to look believable. He did the best he could with the resources at his disposal. He interpreted the story the best way he knew how. Did it appeal to everybody? No. It doesn't mean it was a flaw.
But the bottom line is that there should be a story, an entertaining story.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Yes. Yeah.
The critic said that based on his perception, how the story unfolded in the script. Sometimes I advise people, if you're doing a biopic, it could be very costly in Nigerian terms. So why don't you do a factional biopic?
Yeah, a portion of it. I think that's something that we've not really
done in Nigeria.
They feel they have to tell the whole story.
No.
You don't have to tell the whole story.
Yes.
It's the character that is important, not the story is always important. But you could capture a moment in his life.
That's right.
You know, as opposed to just covering everything.
Everything.
All right. And sometimes, of course, like I stated, these things are not cheap. There's a tendency that you will drop the ball at some point. I, for instance, had to do a biopic on, say, Fela, for instance. Of course, I wouldn't want to capture it in a feature because that man had such a
larger than life presence.
Yeah, there was so many things happening. You know, if I was going to capture it in a picture, I'll focus on a moment in time in his life. But for me to properly do a Fela story justice, I will have to go for a miniseries. That's my thing. At the end of the day, film is a gamble. I know films that people don't even talk about, and I know the budget of those films. You understand? So at the end of the day, it's a gamble.
So if you were to tell a story that something like that is supposed to educate Nigerians, orientate Nigerians towards what I would call give Nigerians a sense of national consciousness, a sense of nationhood. What kind of story would you want to tell?
I've been doing freelance for so long that I really don't. I have a very how do I say this now? I'm a rebel. All right, the stories that appeal to me, or the stories I want to tell, are stories I feel will be really entertaining to tell. When I say entertaining, really entertaining. If I was going to do a biopic on someone popular, I wouldn't want to do a Fela's mom. What's her name now? She was the first woman to ride the car. I wouldn't want to do a biopic on her. Not because the events surrounding her life were not interesting, but I feel they would lack that commercial appeal.
All right.
Okay? I would rather focus on a Lawrence Anini, who was a notorious armed robber in the South. You know, I would rather focus on something like that. It's got action. Why did he do the stuff he did? You know, it's got money and heists and all whatnot. You know, if I want to tell biopics, I'm probably going to tell the kind that I feel will have a lot of action, thrillers, those kind of stories, as opposed to just telling, the dramatic ones. And that's not to say I can't dabble in. I'm very versatile with my writing. I can do anything basically.
Okay.
But I'm just saying those are the type that would appeal to me. And for a filmmaker who's delving into writing or making biopics, your main character has to be interesting enough for people to want to even care to watch it. If you watch stories like Notorious, which was a biopic on the Notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls, if you watch Tupac's biopics, these guys they were legends in their own rights, and they were interesting characters. Were they the only rappers that got shot in New York or in the States or in hip hop generally? No, but they had very interesting, their lives were interesting, and the filmmakers knew that if they captured it in film, audiences will be interested. So that's my take. Any biopic you're doing, let it be on an interesting character.
Okay, again, I would also, like you said, I would also concur what you're saying. If you're doing a biopic, you focus on an aspect of the character's life that
Yeah.
that was
Moment.
exciting.
Yeah.
Now going back to Kof, in the last bit, which is the third act, sorry, I'm using act structure. Would it be true to say that the abusive lover from whom Officer James rescues the main character mirrors a backstory? The actual antagonist is that guy who came to attack her in the house. We say that that is an real inner conflict.
Okay. The guy who came to attack in the house started off as a gentleman. All right. He was paying compliments and all whatnot. And then he tries to get, handsy with her.
Yeah.
And she rebuffs it, and, his true character. In a way, yes. In a way, yes. There's a lot of guys out there that, they are not really what they are. They are wolves in sheep clothing. Well, people generally, not just guys. They are wolves in sheep clothing. It took her having to slap him for this guy's own to manifest or show, So, in a way, yeah, I guess she's always have that fear of, she's attracting the wrong ones, not just in terms of professional lines or marital lines, the kind of guys that, they might not be what they appear to be.
In the long run, we saw the main character, evolve into an apologetic woman. I love that scene where she walked up to the guy and laid a complaint, and it was so ironic. It was so ironic.
Yeah.
And the guy sort of got the message. How would you describe that moment emotionally? How would you describe that moment? How would it appeal to female audience, even male audiences?
I think our character has gone full circle at this point. She has come to terms with the fact that, it's not about what he does. It's about the kind of person he is. Again, there were elements of that script or there were certain dialogues that weren't included in the final cut. All right, that's between the filmmakers. When she was in a desperate situation, in a situation of desperation, she called for help. She could have called anybody, but she called him because she knew he would, definitely come up, regardless of, the way she had treated the policeman. He knew if she called, he would answer. And at the end of the day, that's what matters really. Who's there for you at your time of,
Okay.
Yeah.
I will also say that when she called the guy for help, or when she actually called the guy, it represented a moment at which she had come to terms with the lie she was telling herself.
Yeah. Like I said, she's come full circle. Our character the transformation is complete. She had an impression of the kind of guy she wanted.
Yeah.
Now she has the kind of guy she wanted, but it's wrapped in a different bow from what she had expected. Now she has to learn to accept him regardless of all of that prejudice.
There's always a tendency for a character or a main character or a protagonist to believe a certain lie. And when that character believes that lie, that he or she assumes is correct, is the truth, that becomes an internal conflict. So when the character goes full circle, the character will now realize that he or she was telling herself lies all along. And so that is the evolution. So she changed.
Yeah. And let me just add here now that your characters shouldn't be perfect.
Okay.
I say a lot of people write stories with their characters that there are no flaws, no real flaws. You understand? Even villains, the antagonists, even villains,
they have their good sides.
Evil. Yeah, everybody has their good side. The things that differentiate them is the fact that they have a certain, they're on a certain path, or they're after a certain goal that doesn't appeal to everybody. All right, and they are determined. All right, it doesn't necessarily make them bad people.
Yeah.
I hate when you type this whole thing where you make the villain too evil, and some villains actually have noble causes.
Yeah.
Their causes are good. It's the methods they employ to achieve those causes that differentiates them. So, yeah, we should stay away from perfect characters, and life itself isn't perfect.
And we should also realize that some antagonists could actually be protagonists.
Yeah.
You know, you could switch roles. They could actually be antagonists.
There's a movie, there's a series called Breaking Bad. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who was making the meds. He started off as a good guy. He was diagnosed with cancer. Audiences were feeling sorry for him. All right. Out of the desperation of, trying to provide for his family, and attending to the accumulating medical bills, he went into a life of crime, like, creating meds and all whatnot, and selling meds and all whatnot. Now, we saw a transformation of the good guy becoming the villain throughout 6 seasons. That's it. Our main character was a good guy, and he became the bad guy at the end of it. At the end of it all, that just goes to show that it's a matter of perspective, good and bad.
That's why we usually advise Nigerian film producers, when you do movies that project Nigerians as bad people, find justification. You've published over 40 screenplays in and outside of Nollywood. You've written or ghostwritten projects across many movie genres, including documentaries and reality shows. You've gained recognition for your creative talent, skill, captivating dialogue, and timely deadline delivery. Do you think your Let Bloomer project, a platform for discovery and grooming of new British screenwriters, came at the right time in August 2020?
That's a lot of questions. Let me answer them one after the other.
Okay.
First of all, trade secrets. I have none, to be honest. Everything I do is based on referral. That's the part people don't necessarily talk about in screenwriting. If you don't, without jobs, you can't feed. And there are no entities, there's no sure thing. Especially if you are freelance, you're not attached to any big cable company, right, or studio. You never really know where your next job will come or when. You never really know where your next meal will come. But as God would have it, I've been surviving solely on it for the past 4 years. I don't have any other hustle aside screenwriting. That's one. Then secondly, over 40 published. It's actually over 65 now. I've done stuff across all multiple genres, reality shows and documentaries and all. A lot of people don't know that documentaries and reality shows are scripted. They're actually called unscripted format, but there are scripts for it. Now, as for the Late Bloomer project, did I think it came at the right time? The answer is no. It was, while my intentions were good, the timing was off, in the sense that we were in a pandemic. I think the last thing people wanted at the time was, people were just fixated on surviving. People were losing jobs and all whatnot. Was it a monumental failure in every sense of the word? No. I had some students, but the turnout they weren't as I anticipated. But I'm still going to give it another shot this year, see what happens. The timing for the Late Bloomer project was off. The intention was to look, the game is changing. Okay. All right. There are new players now. Audiences, like we stated before, audiences are spots for content. The intention for the Late Bloomer project was to start or develop a new crop of writers that's up to this challenge. A new crop of writers that are more updated, that are more in tune with current happenings and whatnot. Because honest to God, a lot of guys don't know what they are doing. If they understand the potential, or if they see the potential in filmmaking in general, and how far films can travel, and how much money can be really made from film, I think they would do better in terms of the quality of products, content they're putting out. I wanted to start a new crop of writers that they were up to this challenge, or they were ready to take on this challenge, but like I said, the timing was off.
I read in one of the researches I made that you had proposed to make a movie around albinism, which you describe as a sweet and sour experiential identity for you. How far have you gone? Have you been able to make the film? And what's your plan, towards social advocacy?
Like we already stated before, when it comes to advocacy, it has to be entertaining, and it also has to pass a message. Now, the name of this film was Remedium, or is Remedium rather. All right, so it was supposed to be a short film, and yes, attempts were made to shoot it. Actually, there's a version of the film that was shot, but between me and you, we might not put out that version because we felt we did the best we could with the resources at our disposal. We kind of robbed the story. It didn't come out well, right? It had all the trappings of a good film, but in terms of packaging and all, it's not what we wanted. It's not something that we'd be proud to submit or put out there. So we had to retrace our steps, and we're going to give it another shot, but with a much bigger budget, hopefully.
But in the long run, of what good would it do to the case of albinism?
I wouldn't want to, give away too much of the story.
Okay.
But it's a story that draws light to the internal conflicts of albinos generally, both internal and external conflicts of albinos. It's a story that talks about the general perception of albinos and how we need reorientation, but it's packaged in a very entertaining, not your regular type of albino story where you see this albino character who's being discriminated on and he's crying for help. We're trying to tell a very balanced story. I wrote this screenplay in 2018. All right, it's been give or take 3 years now. And even if it takes me 10 years to tell it, you never know who's watching. Please, if you're passionate about the cause, even if you're not passionate about the cause of albinos, if you want to make a great film generally, send me an email. I'm open to collaboration. All right.
All right. I've been talking to the smart, and skilled screenwriters in and outside Hollywood called Kelvin Ukhurebor, who discovered his flair for screenwriting in the second university after reading accounting. There are many cases of people like that who switch professions and come to screenwriting because they suddenly realize who they are. I did the same from engineering. It is so good talking to you. Thank you so much for turning up. I don't know what you might like us to discuss the next time. I don't know what project you're holding on now that you will be finishing very soon, so that I could probably get a call to talk to you about your project.
I'll definitely keep you updated on progress made on new project. And I think in as much as it's good to talk about the art of story or screenwriting, we should also shine the light on surviving as a screenwriter, in Nigeria's
Okay. Let's hear your take. What's your take?
We've had cases of producers underpaying screenwriters, cases of intellectual property theft. There are a lot of issues. I feel like we're at the bottom of the barrel, basically.
Unfortunately, that's where we are until you strike out a big one. Like I usually advise screenwriter, just like you are, or you've looked out, you've written scripts outside of Nollywood. So I think Nigerian screenwriters should polish their skills, because when you polish your skills, you can sell it anywhere. When you are afraid to study and improve your skill, you can't sell beyond Nollywood.
Yeah, this is true. I agree. But I think we should also focus on, the general welfare and treatment of screenwriters at home here in Nigeria. It's really appalling. We need to do better. Like you would agree, writing a screenplay is not easy. Even the bad ones, it's a lot of work, times a lot of energy exerted into something. I think at the end of the day, there should be some light at the end of the tunnel. There should be, I'm talking good pay packages, When writers start to discover that they're not getting paid enough, they start keeping the good ideas to themselves. Between me and you, I've never really done the kind of stories I want to do as a filmmaker.
I know.
I figured, how much am I getting out of it? They are just going to pay me peanuts, take the film, poorly execute it, put it out there. They might not even give me my credits. So these are issues we need to address.
Okay.
These are things we need to address. Yeah.
I think that's left for the guilds, because I know that guilds in Nigeria are very weak. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That has to do with guilds, because if you have strong guilds could help talents and skills or skilled workers in the industry to pursue their rights and get their rights. Well, thank you for coming on the show. You can watch Filmtalk on www.filmlab.ng/Filmtalk. You can check out our blog and forum and a whole lot on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Kelvin, I'm so happy that you came. Thank you for sparing your time, for sparing your screenwriting time to be on the program. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. All right.
You too. Bye.